A horrifying scene in an emergency room that baffled even veteran doctors. A beloved star's life cut tragically short. And a storm of online speculation that painted a dark, chilling picture of conspiracy and murder. For weeks, the death of Menglong was more than just a tragedy, it was a terrifying mystery. Whispers of a violent struggle, of chemical restraints, and a final, desperate message silenced forever fueled a global narrative of a meticulously staged crime. The story you thought you knew was one of betrayal and horror. And it tells a completely different story. But now, the official narrative has finally emerged. In this video, we unravel the complete saga. We will first revisit the shocking initial evidence that stunned the world, and then reveal the definitive police conclusion that seeks to silence the rumors once and for all. What was the truth behind the final, horrifying moments of Menglong? Join us as we separate fact from fiction. Beijing, in the sterile, controlled chaos of an emergency room, silence is the most terrifying sound. It's a sound the medical staff at Beijing Central Hospital will not soon forget. In the early hours of September 11th, that silence descended like a shroud when the battered body of superstar Menglong was wheeled in, turning a routine trauma case into a scene of unspeakable horror that left even the most hardened professionals breathless. It wasn't the severity of his injuries from a 5-story fall that caused the collective gasp. The ER team were veterans of tragedy, accustomed to broken bones and internal damage. What stunned them into a paralytic silence was the chilling story his body told, a story that violently contradicted the simple narrative of an accidental fall. You see enough trauma, and you learn to read the body like a book, confessed a senior surgeon, who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The injuries didn't align. This book, however, was a horror novel. It was like reading two different stories written on the same page. The first story was the fall, catastrophic, certainly fatal. But the second story, whispered through a constellation of damning clues, spoke of something far more sinister. Sources within the hospital described the staff's growing unease as they discovered faint, precise abrasions around the actor's wrists, the ghastly, telltale signature of restraints. Older, discolored contusions on his shoulders and chest suggested a violent struggle had taken place long before he ever went over the railing. But it was his hands that told the most heartbreaking tale. Fingernails torn and bloodied, containing microscopic fragments that could only have come from a desperate, clawing fight against an overwhelming force. This wasn't the posture of a man who slipped. It was the desperate archaeology of a man trying to claw his way back to life. We were fighting to save a man who had already fought the battle of his life and lost, a nurse recounted, her voice still heavy with emotion days later. We saw the terror in his eyes when he had fleeting moments of consciousness. It wasn't just pain. It was the look of pure, unadulterated betrayal. The final piece of the horrifying puzzle emerged from the toxicology report, a ghost in his bloodstream. A sophisticated compound was detected, not a lethal poison, but a substance designed to disorient and weaken. It was a chemical straitjacket, stripping him of his coordination and ability to resist while leaving his mind conscious enough to comprehend the nightmare unfolding. As the resuscitation efforts ultimately failed and Menglong took his last shuddering breath at 5:56 a.m., the silence in the ER returned. It was no longer the silence of shock, but of grim understanding. The medical team knew they hadn't just lost a patient. They had become the first witnesses in a meticulously staged murder. The case was immediately flagged, escalating from a medical tragedy to a full-blown criminal investigation, all because a team of doctors and nurses saw a truth too horrifying to ignore. Menglong's death ruled a tragic accident. Police penalized rumor-mongers for malicious fabrications. Beijing, after days of rampant online speculation and gruesome, unfounded theories, Beijing authorities have brought an official end to the mystery surrounding the death of actor Menglong. In a definitive statement issued on September 21st, the Shanghai District Public Security Bureau announced that the actor's death was a tragic accident, with all suspicions of criminal activity being formally dismissed. The official conclusion states that Menglong died from a fall from a significant height while under the influence of alcohol. This finding was the result of a comprehensive investigation that included a full forensic autopsy, a thorough examination of the scene, analysis of surveillance footage, and extensive interviews with witnesses. According to the police report, the actor's family has Menglong had been assaulted and thrown from the building, that he was a victim of a larger conspiracy, or that he had been subjected to horrific acts of torture. These rumors have caused serious harm to the reputation of the deceased and have inflicted secondary trauma on this grieving family, the statement read. In a decisive move against the spread of fake news, the Shillong police have summoned and penalized 3 individuals for fabricating and disseminating false information intended to disrupt social order. The individuals include a 40-year-old woman, named Zheng, who invented a story that the actor had been entrapped and assaulted, leading him to take his own life. Another woman, a 29-year-old identified as Yuan, was penalized for spreading particularly gruesome and entirely false details of torture across multiple platforms. A third individual, Zhu, 41, was also held accountable for fabricating claims that surveillance footage had been destroyed and that a powerful entity was manipulating the actor's mother. All 3 have reportedly confessed to their actions, admitting they created the stories for online attention. They have since committed to ceasing their unlawful activities, bringing a somber and definitive close to a tragedy that was needlessly amplified by public deception. And so, the storm of speculation gives way to a quiet, somber truth. The chilling narrative of a complex murder plot, born from the initial chaos and confusion of a tragedy, has been officially replaced by the heartbreaking reality of a simple, devastating accident. Perhaps the most enduring lesson from this story is not just about what happened to Menglong, but about what happened to his memory in the days that followed. It's a powerful reminder of how quickly a personal tragedy can be twisted into public entertainment, and the very real consequences that follow when misinformation is allowed to run wild. Ultimately, behind the headlines, the rumors, and the investigations, a family lost a loved one. Our thoughts are with them as they continue to navigate their grief in private. What are your thoughts on how this story unfolded? Let us know respectfully in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you found this report informative, please like this video and subscribe for more in-depth stories. Until next time, stay informed.